Welcome to the Sunmall podcast, where we interview the stars of e-commerce. So today we have Varun Chopra of the Teaser Company, one of the premier agencies in e-commerce. So Varun, the first question I had is, you come from an engineering background, so how did you stumble your way into e-commerce?
Yeah, interesting journey towards e-commerce. Since college days, I was particularly curious about what goes behind a great marketing campaign from psychology, sociology, who is the person writing, why did they write this story, what went and shooting it, anything, etc. Maybe a lot of childhood memories, watch Fevicol ads, Airtel ads, a lot of popular in between the popular TV shows we used to see these ads. Yeah, I mean that curiosity in like came across during second year, third year of my college, and I wrote a book. That book was also a very spontaneous decision. Couple of friends sitting together, think what will we do with the money or the package that we will get, our engineering jobs, etc. But no one had a clue about even if we become rich, how will we spend the money? And that curiosity again made me write a book if hypothetically assume that I have a lot of money and I meet some characters around it. And I even wrote it on the wall at my friend's room. Before 2 months, I'll publish this book. So, because it's engineering college, it's nothing to focus about, nothing to work on because we also had 0% attendance policy. So I deep dive into writing a book. So daily, day and night, dreaming about those characters, and then writing the story. I completed the novel. So that was the entry into the world of writing, copywriting. Then I explored, read more about what is a professional career out of a copywriter. Went to a couple of marketing agencies to learn about these basics of fundamentals of marketing and writing, particularly for brands. From there on, and those experiences were good, but I particularly love that this is a good space. Even I can build a better place for creative folks. That was my passion towards jumping on to starting the teaser company. I met my co-founder who was also with Pilani, same college, but 4 years senior. And he had 4 5 years of experience with interactive venues, with Publicis Group, etc. He was experienced. I was passionate that kuch karna hai, we have to build it. Then we decided upon that we don't want to, okay, if we have decided to start an agency, we don't want to become a 360-degree, we will do everything for you, we'll go into every industry, etc. But only focused on e-commerce D2C brands. That was also a rational decision. We had those childhood inclination towards Shark Tank, where we used to see a lot of D2C e-commerce brands that they have scaled massively in the US with the power of internet, power of advertising. And yeah, we were predicting that this wave would come to India because usually what happens in the West comes to the East few years down the line. Now the time has reduced from a decade to 2 3 years or even becoming faster as we speak. However, that was the time where we decided that e-commerce is our place, our niche forte, and we liked the space also. We liked the founders building there. And then yeah, slowly 5 years, 4.5 years now, still feeling peace that yeah, this is what we still like. That is how ventured into.
That's awesome. Really knowing the backstory. You always had the interest in how these brands market. And then you're creative in college writing the book. Did you ever end up publishing the book? Can people Google it? Or what is it called?
Yeah, it's called 100 million Oblivion. And I sold
Okay.
roughly 1,500 copies third year, fourth year of my college. But yeah, at that time I wasn't a marketer, I was a writer. Yeah, but yeah, I published it and it's on Amazon also. Currently, just one or two copies selling a year. But like
Yeah.
even I have like a couple of copies with my sister's place. But yeah,
I
that was
it's more of a fun kind of
yeah,
creative
yeah.
interest. That's awesome. And then you're a small business, you have to focus on stuff. You focused on D2C, and then you found a co-founder who was 4 years older. Maybe had some experience at different agencies, or how did you guys work together in the early days?
Okay, so yeah, early days was quite different from what it is now. Because in the early days, founders are right from we both were CEOs to peon ourselves. So all multi hats, all types of hats we never denied. So in that sense, but we knew each other's strengths also. I was more towards, but we even those strengths we kept on exchanging and sharing with each other. So yeah, Shivam was more towards strategy on how to save our energies, how to focus the company, how to build one niche so that we don't go haywire into every. Whereas, like I mentioned, I was more passionate towards let's build it fast, let's grow it well. And he's more of a peaceful mind. I'm more of a jaldi banate hain. And so we had this yin yang kind of saving energies of each other while synergizing whenever required. But yeah, at the early stages, you usually need generalized folks. At the later stages of the company, when it grows a little big, then you would ideally want specialists. Well, so that's how we are now transferring our organization towards more of specialist mind. In the early days, it was that a person was expected to do three things or three things, five things, whereas mastery could be in one or two. But now we are focusing on pure specialists. That is how we have devised it. Now, what the situation is, Shivam is purely into leading the strategy and performance marketing for brand. And I've moved to purely business side, finding the investor side, ensuring that leads we are converting at a healthy rate, handling the account management, learning perspectives of. Because in our organization, we have to continuously educate and upskill the people that we have, because that's the only asset that we have, our resources. And the more we increase their productivity, the more we introduce new ways of learning, then that is how our growth is also mutually aligned.
Mm.
Got a co-founder recently who is leading the creative side now because he brought a decade of experience, Abhijit, and he is now leading the creative side. But early on, I was handling the creative part particularly. So now we, three major pillars, and yeah, we three are leading.
In the early days, everyone kind of has to do everything. You don't have a big team, so you gotta bounce back ideas. But maybe the personalities matched well, so you were super aggressive. But you're a co-founder. Made sure you guys scoped the problems in a good way. And as the team has grown, specialized more, and your team has specialized. I think one interesting thing is you mentioned is it's really important to upskill people. They want to learn. It helps your business. So a couple questions about growing the team. A, how do you identify the people you want to hire that they'll perform well? B, how do you upscale them or train them?
One very interesting question, but I feel this is a lifelong journey, and I still haven't cracked the code of how to pick the right person. I still feel like even I've heard from biggest of the organization, maybe the biggest ones would have made a lot of kind of filters before they hire. Whereas in the startup stage early on, we were doing impulse hiring. That if we have gotten four clients, five clients, we could foresee that they are coming. But then we used to go and put a hiring post and then shortlisting out of handful of 10, 12 folks. Early days, there were a lot of bad hiring decisions also, and you feel one bad hiring decision takes you 2, 3 months behind. So it's very important decision for that perspective. However, yeah, I'm still not the perfect person to filter out the hiring pillar. But in terms of upskilling or educating them, we have started creating long videos on certain nuggets that each one of us feel like it's worth sharing with the team. Yeah, 2 2 minutes, 3 3 minutes nuggets, be it anything around how to use chat GPTs, AIs for our to ensure that speed or those that does not require a lot of creativity to use these tools to so on so forth. The best of account management tips for new account managers, the best of copywriter tips, copywriting tips for new copywriters, designers, etc., video editors. So we keep on the heads of the teams keeps on recording these sessions so that it can be internally distributed. That's how we are looking. Since we were born and brought up during COVID, we had been fair hybrid even after COVID days. So we are still doing things virtually. However, we also conduct once a week, twice a week group gatherings or a session that we feel would be great from an organization perspective. That is how we are taking up skilling and learning.
How do you think about do we need to hire a person?
Yes, now we have sheets in place, KPI sheets in place, so the team is able to they daily update, and we are able to see how many resources, how much bandwidth is free currently, so how much scope of client is left. And if we foresee more client would join in, then we prepare for hiring. But we have a founders of its team, Isha and Saroj, who are joining. Diksha is with us since last 3 months. So and she had a knack, shortlisting the right mind. So currently she has brought in some really nice folks on the team. Yeah, in that manner, she has been helpful in terms of shortlisting, and me and my co-founder and the co-founder used to finalize those so that we had one layer of preparation and then it became a change.
Makes sense. In the early days, there's always like no one has a great hiring process. And as time improves, the hiring process gets better. But hiring is never easy. There's always going to be hits or misses. And then I think when there's overwhelming demand, you just have to hire. And then I really liked how you guys, instead of just telling someone something once that others might not be able to learn from it. So having those Loom videos, everyone can learn about. One thing in your answer you mentioned is Chat GPT, training them on the AI tools. Like, what are they good for and what are they not good for?
Even though it's very early stage for us to say that we are no AI-led organization, we are still not because at the core we believe of the creativity, even though these tools are becoming very powerful. However, if it's a clear mind, then you rather than putting a very concise prompt, you can utilize that energy into writing a script or thinking about a concept, etc. So yeah, whatever is required from purely a creative mind perspective, we keep it to ourselves and we keep it to pen and paper so that we are putting our thoughts per order. However, things like just an example that, for example, captions or hashtags or certain blog sections that just requires the words to be filled, or in our a job description for an account manager, job description for copywriters. What does a GTM brief entails? What are essential components or marketing pillars of a D2C brand? So, essentially, sometimes when you are not fully sure with the answer and you need certain direction or something that you know that it doesn't require a creative input at all, but just an information bridge in a proper manner. So we are using ChatGPT. However, we haven't put it across fundamentally at the core of the company that everyone is. But like we have taken 3 4 sessions that so that we at least get into the movement because it's like how our parents got into smartphones. Took them some time. We used to make fun, but essentially it's the technology that is there to stay with us. So we are going along with it and still exploring how best to do it.
You want to get your kind of toes wet so that as the technology gets better and better, you're familiar with it, know the faults here, and then really focusing on maybe using it for some of the mundane, very short tasks or tasks that aren't too required, like a job description. But for the longer, more creative work, you really want to make sure that you rely on your own skills and not
Yeah,
just solely
even at the
rely.
creative aspect, sometimes it gives a great direction and focus because it's starting the page is the difficult part of any write or any kind of brief. But if AI helps you start the page or put the first word out there and then you get the focus and direction, then also it's a great for managing your creative power.
Sure. So just getting you over the writer's block so you can add more things. One thing you mentioned is this creativity and making these creative. Do you have any frameworks? I know it's pretty hard, but any frameworks or ways to create this creative content?
Yes, so particularly our specialization is in high converting direct response ads more particular. So yes, there are principles like yes, which is feed, educate, solution. There's principles like ADA, attention, trust, desired, solution. So there are a lot of frameworks out there for sure that a lot of writers use even to write bigger novels or they merge few frameworks together to create story arcs or character arcs. Similarly, in our context, yes, there are 7 key pillars to and what makes a great advertisement. And right from book, problem, solution, social proof, guarantees, call to action. So there are 7 key. It's if you are going for a big to create a cake, you need certain ingredients, certain temperature, certain skill. So that's how we have been like the science is not the difficult part. Actually, everyone would can know that these seven ingredients would make up a good advertisement. It's like how you are bringing it together, how the video team operated in the moment where the cameras were live, how the actor performed, how the nuances, how the little things came to life, how the power pack editing made it look even more interesting to watch. Yes, ingredient wise, it's fairly simple, but how it comes to life is a teamwork, and that equation, that teamwork also takes some time to come to proper execution.
I really like that analogy with ingredients. So you have those ingredients, the seven things, social proof, whatever. But you also need to put it in a way and have an engaging kind of video, right? It's just because you have the seven ingredients doesn't mean anyone can buy it from the grocery store. But that doesn't make you a good chef. I really like that one. I might use that myself in the future. It's really good. Wait, going back, so in the early days, so you guys decided to start this agency. How did you guys get the first couple brands or stores to work with you guys?
So yeah, there's an interesting story behind that also. First, honest, first of our couple of clients um, were from a real estate company, as in they were running a hotel. We were just trying to get our bills sorted because we had taken a week of space. We had to pay 10,000 per person as a fee. So initially we got a couple of real estate or clients where for whom we started doing social media. But like I mentioned, a month down the line, 2 months down the line, we took this strategy call of only catering to D2C e-commerce. Otherwise, we won't be making anything or making a specialized place. And then once the focus came that only D2C, only e-commerce we are picking now, and that's what we will stick. Then we started approaching founders on LinkedIn, those who were building in e-commerce space. Then we reaching out to forums on LinkedIn around D2C e-commerce. Then we reached out to communities. And Akhilesh Shiva, my co-founder, had a connection in Bangalore with a couple of food brands. They were selling, one was very fresh into cow ghee. Ghee is very much used ingredient in, and there was a very effective product which was curry spreads that you can put it on a bread and it's like your first with special curries on top. So these two clients actually came together and they were planning to launch through D2C, and we were reading about D2C. But then we pitched them the ideas, all our advertising skills together, combined together, the strategy of what would work on D2C. Even though that was not a foolproof strategy because they were our first client, we were also getting our hands dirty. And even what we were paid to what we charge for now is almost one fourth is what we got at that time, and now we are almost four times price for the same thing. Because early on, lack of experience, why would they have the negotiation power? Because we don't have any portfolio to show. And that's the tricky part of starting anything from scratch. That the trust is so low that you get down paid. But it comes at a upside also that you learn a lot and you are learning at their expense. So the deal is formulated like that. So we did a lot of mistakes, to be honest, but we learned from them and we started reducing mistakes. And but of those, both the brands are doing pretty well, even though they have no focus toward B2. But yeah, first 2 years, they did pretty well.
I think that kind of applies to everything, right? When you're starting any type of business, the first kind of couple customers, you're not going to be able to charge the most, but you're going to learn a lot for sure. You got the first couple customers. Now you guys are much bigger, much more successful. Maybe you can talk about a couple key case studies.
Okay. Yes, essentially, to be honest, we still feel that it's all about the product. If a brand succeeds, it's all hands down the product. Marketing has the power to sell one time, or it's the responsibility of marketing to put the product in consumer hand. But the success of the brand lies with the product because the second purchase, the third purchase, the trust factor, the authenticity, the value addition, all happens with once they have the product with them. And it's a very humbling job for us to that they pay us money, make us write ideas or do their marketing. It's a very humbling experience from that aspect. However, like yeah, coming to that best of our case studies, luckily we happen to partner with a lot of venture capital firms in India because of Bits Pilani Alumni Network. Since early days, we were lowballed a lot in terms of payments. So we thought, why not let's go to a venture capital firm because they would have put in a check in this brand or in this company, in this G2C, right? And there are, in general, paying capabilities, etc. So we went to Fireside, Shivam went to Grenade, we had Huddle, Sunil and Sartak. These were some top 4 5 VC companies that were backing B2C brands by putting a check in them. So at the core, we reached out to these brand founders through their through the venture capital introduction. And well-being nutrition is one of our case studies that did a lot of ads for them. Well-being nutrition sells melts and innovative melts that you can keep it on the tongue, melt, and then basically you can reap the benefits like vitamin B12 or sleeping melts or vitamin D melts. So those ads did a lot of buzz out there. And since they were spending also a lot at that time. So we were able to improve CTRs. That was our core metric. CTR is click through rate. That is essentially that you pay Facebook X amount and you get Y impressions. Our proposition is you keep on paying Facebook X amount, but you try to get 1.5 Y impressions or 2 Y impressions because your ads are automatically so interesting that book is pushing or people are clicking more. That was our first proposition. And yes, some of our ads almost did 200% CTR, so, but on an average, we have seen 50-60% better CTR. So that is purely from an advertising play point of in terms of scaling brands, not just the advertisement part, but the performance marketing or their end-to-end revenue part, since that is also core part of what we do. Benny's Bowl, Neon Attack, these are Benny's Bowl in the pet food category. Papa Possum is pet care category. Neon Attack is innovative neon signs at home. So all these brands were able to see 40, 50, 60% jump in ROI. Once we launched our ads, we did their landing page strategy audit. We helped them scale through performance marketing. But in the end, these categories were also growing along with us in the sense that market penetration of pet category is very hot. For baby category is great. For both category is also, it's like the markets also supported us. The demand was already there. A good, decent piece of advertising, nice strategy on landing page and a consolidated team of performance marketing. We have scaled these brands 5 times, 10 times, some of them even 20, 30 times from the revenue in almost a year and a half time. Some of our cases.
That totally makes sense. Starting from the marketing, but then also expanding into kind of the landing page design. Any kind of tips on landing page design? Any tools you guys use?
Sure. So landing page, yes, definitely. It's in an analogical world. It's like your online shop. Or if your online shop is prepared to host people and to convert them, that is the highest ROI lever. We still feel is very much unexplored. And that's how we partnered with the Replo. Replo is it's like Canva for landing pages. You can drag and drop all coding technicalities, which were very difficult to understand, has now become their job. And we have tried a couple of experiments. Yet to prove results, we have seen 10-15% improvement, but not 30-40% improvement, but still it's significant. The flow design on Replo, all little details that you put, like I mentioned, a recipe for an advertisement. There is a recipe for a high converting landing page also. 7 key parts, 8 key parts to a great landing page. And on Replo, you can shuffle those components. You can try with your pricing tests quickly, since you can replicate a landing page into quicker replicas that are that have certain tweaks and changes, so that you can A/B test also. So yeah, Replo is one. Pagefly and there are other tools also, Shogun and Pagefly, that is also that we also use in case some brands we don't require a lot of A/B testing. For the A/B testings is required if you have a lot of budgets to spend and you want to ensure that yeah you are putting them on you are ensuring that those tests are giving proper results. So yeah, we tried these for high spend brand. And yes, I'm sure that flow we are added to this Slack community also. They keep sharing newer tools and newer advantages that they are bringing to their tool. So pretty helpful in that regard.
You mentioned of A/B testing. How do you decide like what to A/B test and how long to A/B test?
Interesting. A/B test. So we have certainly kept the priority of levers which we want to A/B test. Specifically in India, pricing or the office is still according to us is a big lever because it's a price sensitive. So, for example, if you are not sure that you should keep an MRP of 400, 450, 350, etc., then we can quickly A/B test. And we have seen that once we did a test with a brand called Water. They sell vitamin. Basically, in the US, there's a brand called Hydrant of similar inspiration to India, whereas it makes your water more vitamin rich and antioxidant rich if you pour it into your water. So we did an experiment in terms of testing the pricing offers. So at 320, 330 MRP, we were getting a ROAS of 2 plus 2.5 plus even sometimes 3. And early on when the pricing was 369, 379, then the ROAS was 1.2, 1.5. So huge jump, almost 70, 80% difference with just to 40 rupees or a 50 rupees pricing play. So easily you can do A/B test on split half of the budgets to two prices, see how much is the difference, and you can make a legit call on which case would be more profitable from long. Other than that, that is the first kind of A/B test which is important. Other than that, I mean using a lot of changing the sections of the page, shuffling them, maybe keeping a social proof number one, and the product pictures, catalog pricing as number three part of the section. Typically in India, we see the product pictures, the add to cart button, and the catalog at the first screen itself. But even jump third screen, fourth screen, and keeping social proof at top has also proven to improve the conversion rate. So yeah, these are some of the biggest levers. However, we are also trying statistical type of landing pages, like 5 reasons why you should give this a shot, and making it more of a blog selling page, not a hardcore e-commerce selling page. Compare how people feel buying from an authentic organic blog looking post versus a hardcore product page, typical product.
Makes sense. So really focus on things that can really move the needle, like the pricing or the putting the social proof above the photos. And then also exploring different categories of pages, these listicles. Next question I wanted to ask is, are there any kind of new marketing channels or some old channels that are working well or better these days that you're excited for?
So, like I mentioned, Don, like with specialization, there is certain con also comes with it, which is that you are a very focused to. I mean, there's a pros and the con also. Pros are it's easy to educate team if you are a specialized company. It's easy to charge a premium because you are a specialized company. It's easy to make a brand name or getting known for one thing because you are a specialized company. However, the cons comes with a disadvantage in the sense that a lot of noise or what you potentially feel that to be a noise, but sometimes that is necessary from a brand point of view. We have been very much meta focused and trying to scale brands through meta because we still feel it's the highest ROI. Who is not on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and potentially there are a lot of ideas still unexplored, a lot of creativity in terms of how you can create a funnel, how you can reach users on WhatsApp, telecalling, a lot of scope still left within these three big giants. However, Google is coming to power with its own media estates and its own power of data, which it has. And especially if you are a commodity product or a lot of, if you are a searchable brand in our D2C, lot of those who are building innovative products or something or the other there is new about them, then D2C becomes a great medium for scale. Since we have a lot of things to talk about. However, for brands like for commodities, Google is the biggest channel, YouTube, which is a part of it. However, from a purely brand owner perspective, some people have this idea of putting money into different baskets and see which baskets are growing at what pace. But we as a company bring in a specialization that we'll focus on this basket and make sure that this basket we crack the ROI of this basket first before we recommend. And the other baskets or other channels can be taken care by the partner companies that we have. Since we specialize here, everything else we have a partner company. For example, if someone is looking for organic social media growth, there are partners for it. They are looking for marketplace growth, then there are partners for it. So yeah, there are holistically there are channels for brands, SEO, influencers, B2C, paid media channels to organic to if you are bigger than print, radio, TV, all those channels. However, we have been certainly focused on one. Yes. But like definitely miss TikTok here in India because I've heard that UK, US, Europe, TikTok is as good as or as competitive channel and as high ROI driven channel as Instagram. So certainly there are some national disputes going on which TikTok is not allowed. But however, I feel there are a lot of scope for other platforms to come in and give a fight. That would be good for D2C brand.
Right, just for people who don't know, TikTok's banned in India. And I'm really focusing on a couple core channels that are really big that you can do a lot of volume and really focusing on those, perfecting those, making sure you have the high ROI there before trying 100 things and not any of them to work. Just really focus on making the big channels working. And next question is, I know you guys do a lot of different verticals. Are there any kind of key learnings that you found that are true?
Okay. Yeah, also all industries have its own particular nuances. Like in food and beverage, we show real recipes, real food shots, and how it is made. All those things, rather than very post design or things, works really well. And it comes to apparel, showing all your collection, showing different colors, sizes, etc., works pretty well. Similarly, in health and wellness, a lot of social proof, trust, testimonials work. So there are definitely industry specific nuances. However, in order to cross culturally implement them or try certain experiment, we made sure that we get very versatile clients on board so that teams are able to shuffle and cross learn, cross experiment. There are certain learnings. We know if it works, we keep on doing the same. But fundamentally, if I have to recommend what has worked across industries is it's typically a very authentic founder's video because if the founder step in front of the camera and speaks the vision of how they started building, why they started building, other nuances we have seen it work across category, be it food and beverage, apparel, so we do it to be it any industry that still resonates the most with the people out there because in the end all are humans and if you see a face with the founder and their motivation, there's a lot more magnetic pull towards trying the thing the founder is telling.
Totally makes sense. The authentic founder story and really making a video or really trying to portray that to the audience. And then these are rapid fire type questions. Answer more quickly. So first question is any kind of overall trends in e-commerce you're kind of excited about?
Yes, still waiting for live sessions or live videos to come to India, seen in North America and China, working hot. So yes, waiting for the infrastructure place that live commerce scales up well.
Live shopping for sure. Second kind of question, what is the long-term goal of the teaser company like 5 years from now if everything goes well? What do you want to be doing?
Yeah, we are still trying to get in US, UK market and even Dubai, UAE. So the long-term goal is yes, get even bigger brand, more scope for creativity, more scope for advertising power so that we can test our skills even on bigger brand.
Makes sense. Bigger brands and adding more geographies that you guys support. And then the third one is any kind of favorite brand you bought from recently?
Yeah, I have this favorite brand called Macao. It's in plant-based milk. And yeah, I keep on shuffling diets personally. So veganism was a great move.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sun Mall podcast. Please make sure to subscribe.